Turn to ban.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation bringing you guys a game here between Mouse Sports and Alliance. This is going to be the grand finals of the Premier League Season 5. We've gone through 2 full months getting to this position here, but finally we are looking at these two teams, the finalists, one taking home first place, one taking home second. And it is starting off a best-of-5 series with a 1-point advantage to Alliance as they did advance on through that winner's bracket. So we're looking at them. They've just showed so much strength, taking down their opponents very early on, first Evil Geniuses, and then actually dropping Mouse Sports down to lower brackets. So now Mouse Sports having an opportunity to come back swinging, but we'll have to see. Mouse Sports selected Dyer, Alliance selected first pick. We'll see how it plays on up. Thank you guys so much for tuning on into the Premier League Season 5 Grand Final, and I'll hand you over to Triumph.
I think they remember their previous game in the evening. They decided, you know what, let's make sure we don't let Black get his hands on that lifestealer. Also, Puck being banned, of course, a solid ban all round, but it's particularly because Fatter with Puck is a very lethal thing indeed. Mouse Sports, though, they decided, you know what, we're going to open up with the Lone Druid and the Visage. You're going to grab these two heroes, keeps Lone Druid away from Bulldog, plus secures them a decent choice. However, Alliance with the first pick said, you know what, Bat Rider's leaked through, and of course, Bat Rider is pretty much first ban material. Oddly enough, Mouse Sports tends their first 2 bans tends to almost always be Wisp, and then closely followed by Bat Rider if the other teams knock it out. So they've deviated from that plan instead. They've just allowed, you know what, said, all right, let's let that go through. But as we saw, the Lone Druid in their previous matchup between these teams didn't really fare all that well at all. In fact, it was Koiva, wasn't it, who was playing with the Bat Rider who completely and utterly demolished Admiral Bulldog in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that was some really, really good work by Quickvo's Bat Rider, but still, I mean, there's plenty of different ways to lane the Lone Druid, so that might not be a matchup we get to see. In this case, the fact that Alliance didn't go for the second pick of the Nature's Prophet shows to me that this is not an S4 bat, it's not a supportive jungle bat, it's going to be an offlane bat. So Admiral Bulldog is definitely going to be picking up the Bat Rider in that situation, kind of saying, hey, this here's too strong, going to jump on into it, but most likely not going to find a 1v1 matchup. Technically, Visage could go for an aggressive tri lane that would leave Lone Druid for the safe lane and trying to farm up a Radiance, but again, we've seen that if the Lone Druid doesn't position himself appropriately, the Bat Rider can just take him down multiple times over. So either way, going on in the next stage of the draft, Ake has his go-to support. They're going to be very secure in their defensive play, and they're going to be able to pick up a relatively hard carry as a result of it. So starting things off, they're going to ban out a couple carries that they don't want, and then pick up whatever Loda is capable of, which is plenty of different options.
In fairness to Bulldog, Koiva was actually playing suicidally. Like, he was literally trading for kills. He was diving, saying, all right, I'm in the tower, I don't give a shit. As long as you die, I'm happy. And it was indeed getting taken out. He was generally getting experience out of it, though, so he was getting the upper hand. Said, you know, I'll just go and catch up on the farm a little bit later in the jungle, and still came up with a fairly early Blink Dagger. I do like the fact we've got the Chen on the board. Of course, this is a signature hero for Aki, and he does indeed play a very, very murderous Chen. On the other hand, though, there was banned earlier. However, he tends to play a fairly more accurate Chen too. He doesn't tend to sit down and just farm, though he often tries to help out a lot earlier on as well. Mouse Sports, though, they decide they want the Naga Siren. Okay. All right, then. So the question is this a supportive Naga Siren, or is this going to be offensive? Mouse Sports also banned out the Storm Spirit as well as the Rubik. I think they're a little bit worried about the Rubik possibly getting his hands on some of the Siren or some other more irritating spells. Of course, EGM has been playing a pretty lethal Rubik as well, very helpful Rubik. But they have actually, Alliance have decided they don't want the Jakira on the board and have banned that out, and also Anti-Mage being taken into the mix too.
And Gyrocopter comes on through, which is actually surprisingly uncommon compared to how we used to see him all the time. Used to be considered one of the best options, but now has made it so that he's definitely third pick material. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just interesting that we haven't seen him too much. The Naga Siren here for Mouse Sports most likely will be supportive. That's how they've been running it for the most part. We have seen mid Siren. We have even seen a carry Siren if they go for a push-oriented build. But generally speaking, in this situation, I think they want to go for that supportive one. The big benefit of Siren here is the Song of Siren against Bat Rider. He blinks in and lassos, and assuming he hasn't farmed up a BKB, you're going to be able to prevent that initiation. He lassos, you put that on cooldown, and you trade that cooldown for Song, and then you get to reposition. Maybe pick off the Bat, maybe go for the 4 behind him, but either way, you get to initiate more so on your terms and turn that Bat Rider's blinking into kind of a separation mechanism, pulling him apart from his team. So that can be a pretty big deal, but we'll see exactly how they decide to use it as the lanes shape themselves up. But for right now, one thing's for sure is that Lone Druid's going to go solo. Most likely, Koikova is going to be picking that up for the off lane there, or like I said, they could run him on the safe lane and go for the aggressive try. And Naga, Visage, great aggressive try lane heroes if they have the damage to back it up with their next pick. But they also have to look at the mid lane. They banned out the Storm Spirit. They banned out the Puck. But still plenty of options on the board for both Fata and S4.
I mean, they really want, like, both these teams still looking for their solid mid most. Like, well, I suppose we could. There's always a chance that they throw the Batrider in to pick up something like the Darkseer, the offlane. In fact, Darkseer is something we haven't really seen a whole lot of this tournament as of late. He hasn't really been picked up that frequently at all. He used to be, back in the day, used to be pretty much first pick, first ban material. A lot of teams have sort of been calming down in terms of him. And he's the kind of hero who can do a lethal amount of damage. But here we go. Mouse Sports go with the Beastmaster. And we've been seeing a fair bit of Fata playing that solo mid Beastmaster. And if they are going for that, I mean, if they are going for that push lineup, which it does look like it because you've got the Beastmaster, you've got Lone Druid, you've got the help there from Visage, and Naga Siren, of course, can push quite effectively as well, can force multiple lanes down using the illusions and Riptide. I think this is definitely Mouse Sports are playing to get aggressive quite early, but they're up against Alliance, who have a fairly good team for fending off that sort of early aggression. They have the Gyrocopter, of course, has cooldown, has some decent nukes. Chen can help, and pretty much all their heroes here are good for the team party. Mouse Sports have got that big AoE the big setup in the form of Song of the Siren. However, they don't have the burst AoE to follow up afterwards. So they might be able to set up a fight with Roar and Song of the Siren. However, they won't instantly be able to blow a team apart. They don't have that wombo combo set up as we've seen earlier with stuff like Enigma, with the Darkseer, with the Song of the Siren to set it all up. That isn't what they've got. So if they try and push right now, they may just be walking headburst into cooldowns and just Batrider, of course. I don't really think they can get that aggressive as much as they'd like anyway. And then they've got they've even got Shadow Demon there as well. So it's going to be hard to sort of try and isolate and take anybody out quickly because you've always got that option now to disrupt and save.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Towards the mid game, especially when you get those bigger ultimates and such, and Shadow Demon gets a little bit more mobility, there's going to be a lot of potential to keep people up. Chen, Shadow Demon, in the midst of an engagement, somebody's sitting at half health with 3 people on them, suddenly perfectly fine. The really great combo is Test of Faith defensively and then disrupt them. There's very little you can do to actually bring him down if the Test of Faith is ranked hard enough. So that's definitely a lot of defensive potential. I agree with that. As far as... Sorry, go ahead.
This actually, Mouse Sports lineup, remember what we saw the other night with the Tinker? This actually looks very similar to what we saw.
It was a Prophet, but Black, I'm sure, could play the Lone Druid too if they did want to switch it up and maybe even go for the aggressive tri-lane Tinker. I mean, the Naga Siren plus Tinker is so darn good. You just set it up, you get the March Machines, and you guarantee some damage with that ensnare. So they do actually pick it up. This is going to be Black on the Lone Druid and Koiko's Tinker, and this is going to be fun. Pretty much Alliance's main goal is going to be trying to pick off the Tinker as quickly as possible with the Batrider, but they also need another gank-oriented hero. S4, is he going to go for like a Night Stalker or something along those lines? That's the question.
We'll see. Night Stalker could potentially work. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Night Stalker currently. He's especially towards the late game. Like the Silence obviously would be fantastic on Tinker because it really does shut him down, really messes up his sort of rearming cycles. However, I'm not sold on it just because sort of it's only useful half the time, or when he's got his ult up and running. So it's very hit and miss. Ooh. And they're gonna go with a Shadow Fiend. Okay, that is definitely high risk, high reward. They've got a lot of AoE firepower. That's some really nasty team fight power there. However, that's still pretty squishy. And if they do manage to isolate, a few heroes with Song of the Siren to cut a fight in half and then Roar, that could end badly.
Still, they have a greater amount of team fight. No matter what happens, is that once they get it going, the ultimates, the call down, the Requiem, will be able to do a lot. It's not great in response to the Tinker necessarily, but as long as Alliance plays their style and just what their best thing for Alliance to do is to push when they're at their strongest and just get to focus on getting to that point, get a couple core items on Gyro, get a couple core items on SF, and then just go 5-man. Tinker will be frustrating. He might be able to pick off a tower. Lone Druid will be doing a little bit of split push, but if you 5-man hard with that much right-click potential, and you can get one pick-off, you can still go for another tower, and just keep on pushing down, even mid lane, and drop it down pretty quickly. But before we get on into that back and forth from the metagame, looking over at the rosters real quick, we are going to be seeing these guys picking up their individual heroes. S4 going to be running presumably mid on the Shadow Fiend. Loda's going to be carrying it up on the Gyrocopter. And actually... okay, just quick AFK. Anyways, Admiral Bulldog is going to be running on that Batrider, presumably off lane. EGM supporting up on the Shadow Demon alongside Ake's Chen. And looking over at Mousesports.
Yeah, Mousesports got Cinderin playing support Naga, Quackabah playing the Tinker, Pass playing Visage, Fatta is going to be playing... Oh, who's Fatta? Fatta is going to be playing... I've forgotten what the last hero was because I'm retarded, but Black will be playing Lone Druid there as well. And who was the last pick? I've got the 2 supports.
Beastmaster.
Beastmaster, of course. Yeah, Fatta, of course, playing the Beastmaster. He'll be taking that solo mid. But I agree with your analysis that Alliance need to... Actually, it's on Alliance to try and push a bit earlier, because if this game stretches out towards the mid late game where Tinker gets the Dagon 5, gets the Ethereal Blade, has BKB or the Bloodstone, whatever he feels like putting up there, has the Sheepstick, of course, as well, this is going to get really ugly for Alliance because they don't have a set of, like, a really good set of spells to shut him down. They've got the lasso, it's about it. So if he can jump in, snipe Bulldog before he can chuck the lasso down and then jump out, I think this is going to be a really bad situation for Alliance to fall into, because he's just going to be... They're going to try and get to the situation where they've got these brittle heroes. You've got nobody who could really tank that up. The amount, like we saw the amount of firepower and nukes that Tinker was dishing out. S4, he'll just fall in seconds. Like Bulldog is probably going to last the longest, to be honest. I think he's got the best strength gain out of a lot of them. But yeah, I mean, Aki, you Hand of God and stuff, but it really doesn't help when he can literally just kill you in one volley, or even just pick off Aki first. But I think his first target will be Batrider, because obviously if he gets lassoed, S4 will just try and blow him to pieces before he can do a damn thing.
So, I don't know. One thing is that the Shadow Fiend will be able to pick up a BKB early. So you were talking about the Dagon, Ethereal Blade, Tinker, and when that comes into the field after he picks up, most likely his Blink and Scythe. I think that the fact that Loda and S4 both obligatorily go for the BKB will be very, very helpful in this situation. But that's pretty much their timing as far as I'm concerned. Like I was saying, yes, they're going to be able to split push no matter what. Mousesports is going to have that potential. But once they start getting even higher mobility with larger mana pool on Tinker with the Blink, it's going to get to a point where they're just pinned in inside their base, or just hovering behind their tier 2s, trying to keep everything going. And once you start on that defensive streak, it's very hard to get on out of it. Maybe a good Batrider pickoff could make it so that passivity will work out for them, but as a whole, the longer the fights go on and the longer the game goes on, it's going to be more unpredictable as far as Alliance trying to take this out, because that's not how Alliance like to play a game that is very stable, very calculated, and very determined at certain points in time. And the unpredictability of a Tinker that can get that much farm is going to be certainly a concern. But as far as the lanes go, what do you think as far as the advantages therein, like Shadow Fiend versus Beastmaster, for example?
Like, Shadow Fiend is going to get some... assuming Shadow Fiend is going to be heading mid against the Beastmaster, he's probably going to get some decent... Like, he will get some decent farm starting off. He won't stop the Beastmaster from getting his early farm, and obviously he's pretty hard to slow down because he's got the wild access to spam, so we're going to see S4 get off to a decent start, but he's going to be up against Song, against Net. Like, he's still pretty easy to pick off, and Tinker's a decent threat. He's got some nukes on him. You've got the Roar as well. Like, he won't be able to get that aggressive. Even if he goes for the really fast BKB and starts using it to fight early, he's still susceptible to Roar, still susceptible to Net. So I think he does still need to be quite careful about trying to engage on his own. He won't be able to get that aggressive. But, you know, of course, it's S4. He tends to play a fairly slow, fairly safe game until he gets his core items up and his team is ready to fight anyway. He doesn't try. And he's not like Tame My Wild, who will just go absolutely nuts. He sees the potential, he'll just dive for it like crazy, or he'll just end up roaming around the map looking and trying to start fights. S4's not like that. He plays a more calculated game, like you said. And speaking of confusion, this Tinker, like, I think the Beastmaster is an utterly critical pick here. The fact that Tinker can attack from any angle, that there is no way for them to stay safe. Firefly is probably the best defensive measure here, except the Hawk can go invisible. So you pretty much, like, you can be pushing, you can all be pushing, getting ready, and then suddenly Tinker's in your backline. He's teleported out behind you into some trees, blinked out, and then zap 2 heroes dead. And there's no, like, before you can even react, they're gone. And then he blinks out and he teleports home. It's just, what the hell do you do about that?
Yeah. So on that note, you were talking about what he can TP to. I would say the Spirit Bearer also is definitely something to consider. I think that Prophet was a little bit better in this regard, in the sense that being able to drop down Treants wherever you want and having that global presence on the Prophet as well was a little bit better, but they obviously wanted a different thing for them going right here, because they actually had the option of picking up Furion. They went with the Lone Druid. So I think part of that has to do with the fact that they wanted to pick it up and snatch it away from Admiral Bulldog while still banning Alchemist. But another part entirely has to do with the fact that a Lone Druid, very fast jungler, and also the fact that he does more consistent damage to towers rather than just clearing out the creep waves.
This is true. Also, it does limit their split pushing potential a bit. However, they are up against a Batrider. Of course, Batrider can ruin a Prophet stage because he's one of those blink heroes with a superior magic disable, can just jump on all over the top of it and just bring him down and just make it very risky for him to split push anyway. So I feel like the Bear is definitely a more solid choice in this situation. Also, of course, like you said, keep it away from Bulldog. It's always a nightmare where you have to deal with that usually.
Mm-hmm. Cute little play coming in from Black on his Spirit Bear. He actually put the Quelling Blade in the trees and is intentionally showing off his Spirit Bear as if to say, hey, I'm going to try to suicide bottom, support stay here as long as possible and try to stop me. But then he'll go back to the trees, pick up the Quelling Blade, and just start off in the jungle. Very, very strong.
Interesting choice. Yeah, that should work out for him nicely. But look, that is a cute play. But I think all eyes here on the top lane, of course, for Tinker. The question is, can they get him farmed up? The aggression here, it's going to come down to how much damage can they get on top. In fact, Bulldog is actually going to start off in the jungle by the looks of things, which I think it's a wise choice. Like, he's not going to last all that long off the top line when you've got stuff like Net that can stop him in his tracks. So he's just going to head down here and get to work. No, is he not? What's he up to here? I think he's just getting ready to
stack.
I think he's getting ready to stack level 1 and then just burn that down with Firefly. Maybe he just wants a quick level 2 and then he'll head back to the lane.
So we'll see. Right now he's just doing the easy camp with the Firefly individually, and then I think he can still manage with the timing to stack up the hard camp on the west, so that should be no problem for him. But he isn't going to have that much involvement. Obviously, he's not going to have any involvement until level 6, but then he's going to try to focus on that Blink Dagger around the 9-minute mark to try to make that worthwhile for him. So with this 3.510 setup, it really comes down to the mid lane. That's the only matchup. Like, we can assume that there are going to be last hits successful up on the safe lanes. That's just going to be how it goes. But in the mid lane, kind of back and forth right now, the hardest thing for S4 is just getting a couple Necromastery charges. As soon as I get that going, gets that going for him, he's going to start ramping them up faster and faster because of that last hit bonus, or that attack damage bonus. But yeah, right now, Beastmaster leading 7-3 and trying to focus on denies as much as last hits to make sure that S4 gets as little as possible from this lane. So,
complete free farm. I think we'll see how he manages to roll with that. It's gonna come down. Like, it's gonna be around that. I feel like that 25-minute mark where you're gonna have the Blink Dagger on Batrider. Hopefully, Shadow Fiend's found his first item, and then of course you've got Chant of God. You've got Cooldown. That's when Mousebots, I believe, are going to be at their most vulnerable because they don't have that team fight power, and that's when S4 and the rest of Alliance are just going to group up and really start causing havoc, taking the tier 2s, possibly the tier 2s, probably get rid of all the tier 1s. But if they can bust down some of the tier 2s, like the top one especially, just make it really hard for Tinker to farm safely. We'll see whether or not they can make something happen. Also, I do like the fact they've blocked off the Ancients as well, just so they can't start stacking that for Tinker to march down later.
Yeah, because if the Lone Druid was down on that lane suiciding, that's all he would be doing, is just sitting next to those Ancients and stacking, maybe roaming the Bear around and trying to make things happen there. But yeah, Admiral Bulldog knows what to do with the Druid when the Bear is the only thing that's occupied, and that is stack, 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 and get Tinker farmed on up. But with that Sentry Ward, they wouldn't have had that option, and yeah, it's just good clairvoyance of mind. They know they need to put focus there, and that means, especially with Batrider and his Firefly flying vision, they're going to be able to control that area in the mid game because they have that right focus of mind going on into it.
Looks like we're going to have a fairly passive opening here. Obviously, Mousebots aren't looking to make any kind of fight soon, although I think with the smoke they might actually be able to go after S4 because like S4 are pretty damn squishy here. They could try and jump him, especially if they can get some. Well, Beastmaster does have a full bottle here, so they could get the wild axes up. But it looks like they're just going to sit here and farm for a bit. But with Grave Chill and the Net, I don't really see S4 managing to escape with any great ease because he doesn't have any close by help at all. In fact, it looks like Alliance side decided, you know what, let's take advantage of this empty lane. Let's just go for the early push. We've got the chain creep advantage as well. Although here we go, there is actually a port.
Oh, what? There was a Centaur stun. He got stunned by the neutral Centaur. Oh, when he was pulling and TPing, he got stunned out, and he won't be able to defend this lane. This is going to guarantee the tower kill for Alliance. Wow. They have a Basilius active, the toughness aura from the Wild Wing, and they will take down this tier 1 tower. And it was Paz being too close to a Centaur, who happened to be right next to a bunch of other creeps. Very, very unlucky. Not sure if he could have prevented the tower anyways, though.
Yeah, like he might have. Like the main thing is he could have pulled off that wave though. Potentially pulled off the wave and just farmed that save. He probably lost the tower just due to the Chen having the creep there as well, and the fact that it's a catapult wave is on top of that. But I mean, GG, neutral's too strong.
Indeed.
That is unfortunate indeed. Batrider though picks these tranquils. And Bulldog, I mean, with the Tranquils, he's in a decent position to go up and like stop that same push. But like, with the full creep wave, the fact that the full creep wave came through, this gives him the option to put some serious damage on this tower as well. It seems like they've actually pulled the Lone Druid over here as well to try and stop this. They don't want the tier 2 to drop just yet.
So yeah, I mean, they're making that transition. They really needed to. This will delay Black's Midas just a little bit, but if they lose 2 2-tier towers against the Chen, it just pretty much guarantees that that pick was worthwhile and puts a huge pressure on the... Oh wow, nice raise coming in. And he was hasted up, Beastmaster, trying to play some mind games, but didn't have the access cooldown, and then he got raised in by S4 despite running around with that haste. That was just S4 baiting him in and playing it like a fiddle. Really, really nicely done. But yeah, Alliance taking an early advantage. They've taken the tier 1. They've taken the first blood. Koikova, how's that farm going? He is currently sitting 1,070 gold off of those BOTs, but he does, of course, have the soul ring. Oh, wait. No, yeah, I was right the first time. But he does have the soul ring, and he will be able to spam out March, forcing Bulldog back, even when the supports aren't nearby.
CJ Arcopter going for a quick ring there. We'll upgrade that with the Wraith Band in a moment on top of that. Bulldog, though, up in the top lane, just making sure the same fate doesn't befall his own tier 1. Although potential... No, Cinder's not going to manage to get a gank there. He could net if he wants to. He throws at the net, but it's not going to wind up in a kill. He's too far back. The tower already switching aggro to Cinder in there. I feel like they should probably try and land a gank here on S4. He's the most vulnerable character on Alliance's side. Really nice and squishy. Doesn't have many people nearby to defend him all that easily, just because EGM's been spending most of his time in the jungle stacking, making sure he gets farmed here. Like, he's opened up the boots there as well. See, what has Chen picked up there? Chen has actually picked up... I think he actually grabbed a smoke. They're actually looking... Chen's looking to get active in a minute. He's grabbed up a smoke there, so he's going to try and open up a gank for his team. They are going to camp the bottom room. They're just going to take that, because otherwise Beastmaster was going to deny it with the boar, so might as well snag that up.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Chen invisibility isn't going to generally accomplish too much. Actually, he breaks it immediately to ward it on up. So, yeah, one way or another, rune was wasted, but now up on top, damage will come on through. They're going to drop off the net. There's only one napalm stack up, so they're not too afraid of Bulldog's damage. In turn, they're going to drop down that laser. However, he will walk away with 77 HP. So, Tranquil Boots, he did get a little bit of healing out of that earlier, and that's allowing him to sustain, though now he will, of course, have to fall back and get healed up to full. So the question is whether he returns to the lane and just relies on those Tranquil boosts he farmed up to try to keep active, or if he just goes back to the jungle to make sure that blink is on time.
I think he'll just go back to the jungle. I mean, there's no real reason for him to try and push up when the tower, like when his creep wave is pushing up against the enemy tower, no real reason for him to be here when you can have pass and Cinder jump out behind him. He might as well go, and look, even right over here, we've got EGM stacking for him, in fact. It's going to make sure he has access to that so he can jump in, even give each share experience with EGM if he wants to. In fact, they've got a couple of stacks here. These camps, and also should mention that we did have Black over here trying to stack this ancient camp here. Not happening though, because they've put up that blocking ward.
Yeah, and
they know exactly what they want to stop, and they do not want that Tinker spiraling out of control.
And that one's an observer, 6-minute duration, so it's pretty much essentially they have to sentry it if they want to get some early stacks for Tinker, otherwise we'll just be sitting at that single stack of Ancient. As far as Black's farm, as we were mentioning it, we do see that the Midas will be coming on out, and that's not bad timing at all. 7.5 minutes could be a whole lot worse, and it definitely would have been if he tried to go suicide lane, but finding his opportunity to kind of get that dual core setup, he alongside Koikova are going to be trying to carry up this game, but they are up against a lot. Actually, Roar coming on out. Hold that thought. S4 taking a lot of hits here. They're going to get the ensnare off as well, but big Raze is coming out. They might be able to get some turnaround kills. S4 going on the run high ground. The disruption is not defensive, though. Disrupts the Beastmaster. We'll get some illusion damage. Some right clicks, Shadow Poison. Not going to cut it here. So, not sure if EGM misclicked or if he thought that the best bet was stopping that Beastmaster's auto attack. One way or another, Shadow Fiend does fall.
I think it was intentional, because even if he disrupted, like, he was probably going to get smacked by a Riptide in a second anyway, as soon as he came out of it, so it was likely. I mean, his health was so low, it wasn't really going to be that helpful anyway. And Chen still doesn't have level 6. So no Hand of God. Should have mentioned the Black actually picked up a Midas as well. Managed to pick that up around about the 8-minute mark, so he's in a decent position to get a lot of farm here. And maybe this is the difference that they want. Like, this Tinker isn't there all, like, they're not all inning on this Tinker. They have plenty of firepower in the form of the Lone Druid.
Wow.
Towards that mid game as well.
Radiant jungle. Koikva is got to be pissing Chen off so friggin' hard. He goes in, BOTs to the Hawk. The second he gets the BOTs, clears out a double stack of Satyrs and damages the heck out of his Dark Troll Summoners, just harassing a Chen out of his own jungle and farming it at the same time. This guy is going to be able to start dominating the map all across the board, though he is going to start by trying to farm up Ancients that, unfortunately for him, cannot be stacked. Though he may know this and be asking his team to pick up sentries as we speak, but we'll have to see the response to that.
Yeah, considering that Black failed to stack them earlier, I think he knows that there's already a blocking wall there, but he's like, you know what, I'm in the area, might as well clean it up. It's worth a fair bit because his top lane, I mean, this going away means he leaves top lane here for Visage to pick up his level 6 because he does need that so he can be more effective. Batrider has got level 8 though, so he doesn't need to be careful, doesn't want to get too close to that. We'll see what Beastmaster goes for first here. He's still, oh actually, I think he's spent up on something. Arcane Boots, there we go, so it's just going to help manage to sustain here. And yeah, I think they know, yeah, Cassinderan's thinking about where to stick this, there we go, finds it, and we'll clean that up.
Good. So that's good for them. Timing, they did get the 10-minute spawn, so that's going to help them out quite a bit, but pings are coming out. They obviously, Alliance know what's going on there, and they could go ahead and just drop a sentry on the high ground, and that would allow them to de-ward down in the river. That is, depending on how much they really want to commit to it. If they want to keep on dumping cash into preventing these wards and play a little bit of battle between the supports. But now we do see EGM getting the disruption off. This is a bad position for Synderen to be in, even with a haste rune. Of course, EGM does not have his ultimate, cannot purge it, but trying to get the body blocks to seal him in. He is going to be able to get on out of here, though. Just harassing him back and forcing the hand of God.
Like the fact the Hawk was also over, like the Hawk is still here. They were moving the Hawk around and thinking about actually teleporting Tinker to it, however he decided not to go for it. It looked like they could have snagged a kill, I think they would have gone for it, but decided it wasn't worthwhile because he does only have a level 1 laser, level 3 rockets as well. He's mostly gone for the March Machines. He's maxing out his farming because he needs to hit that stride and items. That's going to be the big deal here if he can manage to get that. Of course, let's have a look at Shadow Fiend. Now, Shadow Fiend currently 2,000 gold in the bank here. I assume we're going to see him go, well, as we see Batrider though blinks in, he's got that Blink Dagger, jumps into the lasso there, and it looks like Fado, no, Counter Roar comes out. It looks like he's going to get dropped anyway. He's got, oh, maybe not, Song of the Siren for the save here. Will we see a counter attack come in? Lone Druid's also moving in. Is there going to be a port come in? No. Doesn't look like, oh, they throw down the net anyway. We've got Familiar Stuns coming up as well. Firefly runs out, Root comes out, Bulldog goes down. Gets a taste of his own medicine.
Indeed. But yeah, I mean, they have a lot of lockdown with the combination of Ensnare and the Entangle, so with that kind of getting turned around on him and the Bulldog getting rooted himself, it's just a very limiting factor. And that's kind of what I was talking about the Batrider using that blink, severing himself from the team, and all Synderen has to do is be in the right place at the right time to exploit that. So they were able to do a good job there. We'll see if they can continue to do so. But the big thing here is, of course, Fata lived, although he did have to expend his roar in the process.
I think the aggravating thing here for Alliance is they can never count on a potential sort of 1v2 or 2v2 gank going their way because Tinker can always show up. And, you know, it might all it takes, you know, a couple of rocket spams or even just Marching Machines getting dropped down the right moment. It's going to get some revenge kills at the very least. And they've got plenty of options for him. Of course, the bear, they've got the hawk, the animals, the pets. They can jump in, and especially with the tier 1 tower still up in the mid, he's got plenty of places to reinforce from. As we see, the hawk is going scouting. Along with familiars, they're looking for someone to potentially take out here. And I think they know. Oh, actually, no, that's actually, I think that's a dire ping. It's Koikva jumps in, just going to drop down the March Machines. It's not even like stealing stacks, it's just stealing camps.
That could have been bad.
Be careful, though.
Bulldog had vision with the Firefly. He, of course, saw the Marching Machines. He blinked on in and was just about to lasso. But fortunately for Koikwa, he was able to BOT out just before that came on through. And also the fact that Flame Break hasn't been skilled definitely lends its hand to that as well. But yeah, in this situation here, Koikwa, he has to be somewhat cautious, but obviously he knows where the farm's at and he knows how to do it in the most efficient manner because that Hawk is just pretty much scouting it out for him constantly. And we already see it making its way to the enemy's Ancients. Curious to see if he's going to farm for that next. Down on bottom, though, there is a lot of damage coming in. Synderen getting a little bit in over his head, unfortunately.
Yeah, I like the fact, like, it's dangerous as all hell to do that. Like, doing that is definitely a risky move, but by farming the enemy side, it means he leaves his own jungle free for Black to farm. So he's just definitely trying to tap that source of income, but definitely a very, very risky choice when you've got Firefly and a blinking Batrider to work against. And now he has actually picked up his own Blink Dagger, though, so he's a lot harder to catch. But still, I mean, with Firefly vision, like, his main thing is, like, his main survivability thing is he blinks into the trees where he can't be seen. But with Firefly, well, they can shut that down pretty quickly and get on top of him very easily. Even just giving vision, stuff like Shadow Fiend, just throw the razors in there and knock him out very quickly.
Yeah. Still, going to be great for getting in the position he needs to. Only costs 75 mana, and he, of course, can rearm it. Going to try to farm up these creeps, but actually don't think they're going to spawn in this position here until the Hawk moves. Hawk blocking it off. He's just going to get the camp on the east and the southeast. And, okay, again, having to get out of his jungle, both last hits going over to Koigava. This is just so aggravating. Like, he just continuously, over and over and over, gets to farm that up. Though Cinderin making the same mistake again is going to get netted up. This is going to set up the Centaur stun, but Cinderin pops off his song, needs to TP on out of here, I believe. Or maybe the cooldown solo is insufficient, since that secondary rocket did not hit. But, yeah, either way, that is a dangerous position to be in and cost them another big cooldown.
Yeah, it's unfortunately cost a cooldown. That said, of course, without Batrider to chase him down, they can't really catch up to him because he does have one of the higher base move speeds in the game. Even with Brown Boots, he's much quicker than a lot of these heroes in the game, so there's no real way for Chen to catch up to him. Even with the creeps, as soon as that song came out, the creeps were not going to catch him, regardless of the slow there from cooldown. But Bulldog now, he's looking for some farm. He's not going to find any because it's all gone. There's nothing in the jungle for him to eat. Maybe with this spawn here, okay, he can get the easy camp and the hard camp now on this side. But Koigava now, he is going to just sit here, spam much machines, and hope the creep walk into it. Should be able to clean up this wave in a second from relative safety. And of course, we should also talk about Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter is going for the early BKB, and this is going to be painful. Like, this really means Alliance have to make that timing push, because the longer this game goes, he's going to be sitting on that 4-second BKB, and that is going to be bad. Like, this Tinker, they're just going to be able to murder him with that. And of course, when you're sitting with 4-second BKB, and Nagasarin can keep you snared for longer than that, that's definitely quite painful. Although, of course, he does have Flak Cannon, which does help increase his range quite effectively, but still. Yeah. So this ability is scouting out. The Hawk, I believe, has seen the incoming danger here, and the question is, do they want to fight this? They can port in friends if they need to. I think he sees there are 2 opponents, plus some in the bottom line, decides to back up.
Yeah, seems like it's just gonna be not too much going on there. I mean, generally speaking, as long as the status quo remains and Tinker keeps farming, I think Mousesports are kind of more comfortable with the passive game. We were talking about how Alliance needs to push, and I think that timing is coming pretty soon. Ake about to finish up his mechanism, Gyrocopter about to finish up his BKB. So, in this situation, they have all the potential they want to at least take tier 1s and start moving in for the more aggressive towers if they can find a Batrider pickoff. One thing, however, that I am a little bit concerned about is S4's item build-up. Going in for the Ultimate Orb indicates to me that he's going in for that Manta style, but Manta against Tinker, it's not the most optimal in the sense that they do get burned down by the March Machine very, very quickly. Well, we'll eat some rockets, we'll be able to dispel the laser. Those are all great things, but, of course, the illusions themselves won't be able to do that much damage.
I don't mind. I actually think it's a perfectly viable pickup right now because it's going to give him plenty of extra. It's going to give him extra health, extra stats. The main thing is if he picks up the BKB right now, the problem is he's just getting hit by Raw and Roots, and just there's a lot of ways to go through it. And the thing is, Tinker right now, he's not as mostly lethal. Like, you can take a hit from rockets, you can take a hit from laser. It's the thing where it gets obnoxious is where he has the Ethereal Blade and the Dagon 5. He doesn't need to worry about that just yet. So just waiting for that BKB, I think is definitely a perfectly fine choice here.
Yeah.
And it means he can just get up that like the Manta's done right now. A 17-minute Manta, it's going to help him out quite a bit in terms of survivability, and also just give him a bit more mobility in these fights as well.
Fair. Yeah, I think it still has a lot of great utility. It can dispel roots, it can dispel, I'm not sure about Ensnare, but I think it can do that as well. Anyways, it does have great things going for it. It's just that, yeah, when the slice comes out, and it will indeed come out very, very quickly, then they might have some issues here. The tier 1 taking some hits. They're actually going to force out, I think, a Chen creep stunning, and now the BOT actually will connect, but only after tier 1 has already fallen, so I guess Tinker's just going to stay in base. Waited on out as he's just not finding the position where he actually wants to jump in.
And we're going to see them move up, but yeah, the extra attack speed also definitely really good. I mean, he's already got 180 damage. That's actually pretty damn insane. For 18 minutes, 180 damage is freaking huge. And then he's got level 3. Level 3 aura as well. This is where things get tricky for Mouse, I feel. Because you're trying to deal with the Shadow Fiend who's so damn... Like, his right click already is so damn painful for the state of the game that they're at. And on top of that, he also has some really, really powerful nukes. And sure, they've got some lasers, some rockets, but we've got to keep in mind, Aki is also here and he's got the mech done. Hand of God and mech is going to give S4 a lot of good extra survivability.
Absolutely.
Whereas, I mean, if he buys a BKB, it doesn't really add a lot to his attacks. It doesn't add anything to attack speed, his DPS. Really, I mean, it's got the flat damage, but you can still get rawed, you still rooted, nets come right through it, so I think this is perfectly fine. just to leave it for the late game when he's trying to deal with Ethereal Blade and stuff.
Sure enough, but for right now, the Spirit Bearer has his Radiance up and at him, and I would say Tinker's almost halfway to the Scythe. So with that, they are going to be able to accomplish a lot one way or another. What I'm looking at right now is these Chen creeps are going to be dropping pretty quickly no matter how many heals you put into them. I mean, forget spawning the Raised Dead. That's not going to even have a chance. But we do see pickoff coming on through. Fata might not get the roar off here. The sleep is not coming across fast enough, but he might get out anyways with the Invis rune. Yeah, they're going to drop out the March Machines. A lot of damage about to come on through as 4 pops off the Requiem. Will get it off on multiple heroes, but the roar comes out on Loda. Are they going to be able to do enough damage to bring him down? The bear, everybody has to fall on back. Too much damage coming on in. They can't take it with the flat cannons finally coming across. Just burning on through. Cinderin, the only one to take a fall in all of those ultimates expended.
I mean, did you catch the start, like the beginning of that fight in mid? That was a beautiful dodge by Shadow Fiend. They threw the net at him, and he just used his mana style, dodged it midair.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. And he Loda went in deep, and then immediately BKB up got hit by Raw, and Wild Axes went right through it, took a ton of damage. I mean, if Chen hadn't thrown out all those heals, and he still almost died. It was pretty damn close. So I mean, BKB definitely no guarantee that you're going to live through these fights for sure. But Beastmaster, I mean, if anything's to help out Mouse Sports here, Beastmaster has found his mech, and that's a pretty big deal. Unfortunately, they did lose Cinderin in that fight. I mean, Cinderin right now, he's definitely been lending out a lot of his money to the supportive role because he's look at his items, still brown boots. He's got a wand, and that's about it. He's still trying to find an urn. Whereas they've given the farm to Visage. He's sitting on a medallion, sitting on power treads. They're actually trying to get him tanked up. Probably see him get the beginnings of an Arcanum Scepter pretty soon as well.
Yeah. I think one thing that I really like about Mousesport's lineup here is they make it so that there's no easy answer. The BKB, you can avoid Tinker's Sheeps that will be coming, and like the Dagon Ethereal type action that we were discussing before, but then you're still going to get roared, you're still going to get netted, you're still going to get entangled up. They have 3 great mechanisms to deal with a magic immune target. So what they can do is have Tinker go to town on anybody that's not magic immune, and then when the inevitable BKBs come out, they still have a great amount of tools to deal with that. I mean, Loda, once he was out of the roar, was able to do a lot of damage to that flat cannon, but the fact that that roar is there itself is what's letting them take these fights evenly. So I actually really do like this lineup and just the theory behind the draft as a whole, and I think it's going to be something that people have to be scared of and try to find an answer, because I don't think there's an easy answer no matter what you do. Mech and Pipe is the best thing I can think of, but in general, it's a rough game no matter what the way you look at it.
I think Pipe, I don't think Alliance need to bother with the Pipe here because the magical damage is, besides... the thing is, the Pipe, it's not going to help against the Tinker Burst once he goes full, once he gets his full core of items up. That's not going to be particularly useful there. And outside of that, I mean, you've not got a whole huge complement of magical nukes for the most part. It's not like you fight against a Queen of Pain or a Sand King or something like that. So I think they'd probably go without the Pipe. But definitely mech. Do want the mech. But yeah, like you said, it is hard to find a mix there. Although we do have... I mean, they're stacking Neg Armor right now on Alliance's side. They picked up a medallion on EGM. I think it's being shipped out now on the courier. He's got that. They've already got... I mean, Mouse already have their own one. But yeah, medallion and the Necromastery. This is going to make the Roshan attempt pretty easy. The question is, will we see a response from Mouse?
Yeah. The only response they can do is spamming out March Machines outside the pit, and Batrider can just pull him right on into that with no problem at all. He could even, force staff him with the Firefly Vision if he's facing the wrong way. There's just no way for Tinker to deal with that, despite the fact that he has a great March. He'd just be suiciding there. So instead, going to try to get some damage on the tower, but the Aegis of the Immortal will go to Shadow Fiend, and this is where their lineup comes into play. Not necessarily at its fullest strength, but certainly comparatively speaking, this is their best opportunity to get some real damage on Mousesport's structures.
You see, S4 has picked up a Helm of the Dominator as well as Loda. Both of them going for Helm of the Dominators. This will pretty much preemptively nullify any chance. Beastmaster won't be able to do anything like picking up a Necro Book. That will just completely work against him now, so he won't be able to go for that. But we'll see where they go next. I find it interesting. I thought S4 would start with the beginnings, would open up next with the sort of starting points of a BKB, maybe grab the Mithril Hammer, maybe grab the Ogre Club. I mean, it would give him both nice health and damage right now that he's already got the attack speed for the Manta style, and pretty much a pretty common build for the Shadow Fiend is you go Manta and BKB, or BKB then Manta. But he's decided he wants the lifesteal instead.
Healing in general is going to help a lot because they don't have much sustain. They have the Burst Heal, the Hand of God, and the Mech. But after that, the characters are kind of on their own. So by having that lifesteal and the fact that they have some pretty good raw right-click damage with their current level, with their current agility-based items, yeah, I would say that the lifesteal is going to allow them to be that much more active. I don't think they should be looking into something like a Satanic anytime soon, but it's a good middle ground, not too expensive item that can work in Shadow Fiend's progression before the BKB, as long as he doesn't get perma-sheeped before that comes on through, which... yeah, it may or may not be the case. Either way, tier 1 trade going on, but Bulldog's going to try to start a fight here, and it's going to be roared up instead. The song comes out. They actually didn't need that song. They canceled immediately, but now defensive disruption in the air while Shadow Fiend drops off a huge Requiem. Admiral Bulldog gets on out of it alive, and now they're in pursuit with the call down active. Pause about to drop down. Black taking a lot of damage, and double kill comes out for Loda in the end. A great turnaround right there. Some of it based on the fact that the song was not properly placed, and another part based on the really, really great defensive disruption allowed them to get into it without any casualties and just set up a great turnaround with all of Loda's abilities.
Because S4 now is doing some damage here on the tower, getting backed up by Loda as well. Should be able to chew their way through this. I think Bulldog counting his lucky stars and thanking EGM. The only thing that kept him in the fight there, that defensive disruption. But now they're going to put some pressure in this mid lane. I really honestly feel like they should be seeing a BKB for Shadow Fiend soon, because Tinker is getting very close to finishing off that sheep stick, and once he gets that, that's going to be quite painful. But Shadow Fiend does have 3.9k in the back. Like, he pretty much has enough for a BKB, so he should be able to pump that out just in time anyway. Even though he deviated a bit and got the Helm of the Dominator in between there. But yeah, he's got enough for it right now.
Yeah, S4's farm is very, very impressive, to be honest. 213 CS. Of course, he's been able to commit to multiple engagements, so 1, 1, and 3 is the KDA. This guy's racked up a GPM of 540 in only the span of 25 minutes. SF, such a great farming hero, and yeah, the mobility of the Manta style, as well as just some really good farm mentality, allows S4 to just top the charts 100%. And so he has his next core item. He can get the BKB at the exact same time as his Scythe of Ice, and that's obviously exactly when he needed it. So I think this is really, really important for them if they do go that route. Otherwise, they have some tricks in store that I can't wait to see. Because if they have some crazy strategy like double Satanic just to persist through all the Ethereal Blade Dagon, bring it on. I'm ready for it. But the traditional build-up would certainly be that Black King bar.
Well, I mean, this is a problem. The Dagon business with Tinko, so we're going to see the blink in there as they try and pick off the bear. Bear does have a radius. He's had it for a little while now, but they will pick that off. Most likely, or maybe not actually. They've run out of lasso. The bear's actually quite quick, so it is actually going to get away there. Bit of a waste in the end. But the thing is with Tinker, like the idea, like he also throws in like the perma sheep as well. So if you got a BKB or a Satanic, he's just going to kill you anyway. Like he's going to sheep, like he's going to blink and immediately sheep you. And if he does it right, like if he's fast enough, you won't even get a chance to BKB most likely. So you'll just be destroyed. There will be no Satanic, will be no BKB. You just get blown apart by his combo, because it only takes like 1.5 volleys to clean off heroes like. You clean off heroes like Shadow Fiend. You already have like what 1,300, 1,500 health in the first place.
Yeah, Fata in the mid lane is a little bit overextended here, going to get netted up, but I think he can still get out. That Blink allowing him to escape, as well as it did allow him to initiate just a moment before. Blink roaring on EGM, bringing him down, and yeah, it seems like a very small kill considering it's just a support pickoff, but that's their third kill. That's increasing their kill count by 50%, so it's actually a pretty big deal, and they're going to be able to get a little bit of extra income. Speaking of their income, we're looking at the graphs here. We see the gold racking up to about 3,000 advantage of Alliance before dipping down just a little bit with that last death. Experience is a lot more evened out. There was a big advantage for Mouse Boys right when Tinker started dominating, but now that split up farm is a little bit more congested with Koikava and Black and mid. And then of course that's that thing there. Let's see how it's tipping down again. It's just because of that big fight in mid. They only had a 4k advantage in the first place, so that's just sort of messing with the graph a bit. I can fully expect that Mouse Sports, their experience is going to jump ahead in a second. As a top lane though, Loda gets hit by laser, will be healed up though. Tinker took a crack at him and then thinks better of it and backs off. Yeah, he is just all over the place right now. He can pretty much jump in any angle he wants. We've highlighted on that already, but the familiars, the Spirit Bear, the Hawk, every single one providing him a nice opportunity. Heck, you can go to the Naga illusions, so you can send those out freely as well. So really, everybody offering a little bit of piece of BOT action. They're just able to allow Koikava to be the man behind enemy lines at every point in time. The roar down on bottom. S4 taking a lot of hits here. Double damage. The Tinker BOT coming on in. Is going to get the Scythe off. Blinks away, I believe. Now, There's going to be that lasso coming across to bring down Fata, and the song is not going to save him. Maybe it will. The mechanism comes out, but Fata back underneath the tower will be finished off here. And it looks like Tinker canceled entirely. Didn't shift key the blink, just decided better of that situation considering Alliance's response.
Yeah, I don't like you, Fata. You stay down there and die. Fortunately, Fata went in a little bit too deep and we got jumped hard there, as it looks like Chen moving with his creep up. And wait a minute. I think they're giving creep. I think they're just trying to get a massive army for Chen. Seem to be having a few extra creep. Yeah, they're feeding him extra creep. I think they may have shared control and Chen's just Aki, arguably best Chen in the West. I know some people be disagreeing with me and say no, it's Puppy. But I feel like he's micro stronger. But anyway, they're just going to give Aki more toys to play with here.
Yeah, of course they won't be fully healed by the Hand of God, but still quite a bit of benefits from having that extra pack and leaving it to the King of Micro to be able to manage it himself. The thing is, don't know, I guess this is just a strat for Alliance in general. Not that great against this current lineup because of course the Radiance and the continuous damage from large machines. They're great to have around, but they are only sitting on 1400 HP each, and they can be burned down pretty quickly in the fight. So we'll see how it plays itself out. But the fact that there is no dedicated AoE, just big ultimate or anything like that, no gigantic nukes, makes it so that Ake can still get quite a bit out of them. But here comes that big item pickup that we were looking for Shadow Fiend. I was curious what he was looking for. Goes for the Assault Cuirass. Armor, negative armor to the opposition, armor to his own team, and of course a bit of attack speed for himself. Combining that with Presence of the Dark Lord, you're looking at negative 11 armor against all your opponents, and there's a lot with very, very little, especially if you can bring Visage's Gravekeeper's Cloak down.
I'm really not sure how I feel about that, but I guess the point is they're going to try and end this. They really want to end this before Tinker gets to his massive levels. Anyway, Tinker has picked up his Dagon, so he's got his first level in that, of course. He needs to he's got a bit of a while to go. He needs to max out that Dagon, then he needs to build an Ethereal Blade on top of it. So we're looking at, 40-45 minutes before he's fully operational, before his Death Star is fully operational. So for the moment, they're just going to focus on just trying... Oh, I see a Hex. He's ported bottom. He's used that Hawk to get in there. Gets a laser off as well as a Hex on S4. S4 though manages to back up and Tinker decides not to pursue there. And I think he's actually gone back to base. Yeah, he has actually already teleported back to base. Top lane though, Black gets jumped there. Called out coming with the lasso as well. Roots come out on Loader. I don't think it's going to matter. The Rocket Barrage doing a ton of damage. He is going to try and teleport on out. However, the missile is going to chase him down and knock him out before he can get away. And that feeds a kill to Gyrocopter. Tinker though, teleporting into the enemy jungle. And then oh wait, he's taking a crack here at S4 again, I think.
Yeah, trying to get the flank off. He can do it. I mean, there's nothing to stop him from getting the first sheep off, but he only has 1,500 mana to work with, and considering he does have his third point in his ultimate, it is actually going to take a lot, and yeah, S4 is going to fall back here. So they're just going to take the tier 2, but I really like how Alliance is playing this matchup. They look at it and they're like, okay, well, there is so much trouble going in by yourself and trying to farm against this Tinker who can be just about anywhere. There's no way to guarantee map control when you're up against that Hawk and all those familiars and illusions and such. So the fact that they are just going in as 5 for the most part is really, really strong. 5-man Dota versus this 1-for-1 pickoff Dota, but we're going to see the fight start off. Loda to be roared up but defensively disrupted. EGM will fall, but now can Loda get on out of this one? Pops the Satanic, is going to go hardcore, just right-clicking it up, but now, sheeped up, there's going to be a Song of the Siren, and they might be able to reset this fight and come back on into it. Lasso still available. Going to come out here onto the Tinker himself. Loda doing a lot of damage with Barrage, and right-click should be able to bring him down. You can't laser the BKB. He's right-clicking away. He's doing so much, and he's going to be able to finish it off. Bulldog may fall, but no. They're actually just going to be able to finish this off with S4 coming on in with a great Requiem and cleaning up everybody. Every single hero, because Black was already dead. Buy back from the Tinker. He'll try to do what he can, spam the Perma March up on the high ground, and that should prevent the siege, but it certainly didn't prevent that fight from going all up Alliance. And they're actually going to go for it. They still have, I believe, the Hand of God. Yes, they do. And they're going to go as long as possible, as hard as possible, on this Tier 3. They know this is their best opportunity, and they're going to make the most of it. Integral Brock comes out on Loda.
Hand of God. And Satanic there, Loda just activated Satanic then, so yeah, they had plenty of sustain to take that tower for sure.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
I think of Loda though. Loda definitely getting quite fat here. His next item, he's got 3.5k in the bank. Blaze, what do you think he's going to go for next?
Well, he went for the Satanic already. He doesn't really need a Butterfly to survive through right-clicks. It'd be nice against the Lone Druid, but the Bear has AC Radiance. It's not the end of the world to take that physical damage, and he already has that sustain and survivability with the Satanic. So he is going to go himself a Butterfly, and then after that, I think he should just go out for the MKB, for the right-click damage. But for right now, the Butterfly is a great balance, but now he's going to take a roar in the face. We're going to see if the BOT Sheepstick is going to be enough. No, they're not going to go in full. They're actually going to fall back, but Bulldog pulls him right back on into it. Call down, Test of Faith at right-clicks is enough to bring him on down. Bulldog looking for more, but of course he doesn't have the lasso. And so they're just going to go and control Roche. Medallion and AC up and active. This Roche will fall in approximately 10 seconds.
Yeah, Roche going to go down super quick. Now, the question is, looks at Mousebots, they want to make, they know they don't want this to happen. They need to try and stop Beastmaster buying back even, but the problem is, I don't think they're even going to get there in time. Not enough of them anyway, because we've still got 2 heroes sitting in the mid. Beastmaster's still making his way there, and Roche already, that looks like they're pushing out a bit. Alliance decide they're not going to, they don't want to commit. They want to back out here.
The Song.
They're not 100% on this. They're really worried about Song, for sure.
So, going on through, Synderen will pop off the Song. They will secure their Aegis, picked up by a lone Druid. 2 Bears, 2 Druids, but I don't think they can take this fight. They're going to fall back from here, but Bulldog's not going to let them retreat. Pops off a Flame Break on the high ground, gets entangled up, but 4 Staffs back on down. Now being pursued by the Bear, but the Bear only. Everybody just funneling in a line down this passageway. It's not going to be enough, but there is a Tinker on the back lines. He's flanking it up. He's coming in, looking to scythe up onto S4, but the Bear falls, and they bring down Synderen as well. Only trading Ake and EGM as supports. That is perfectly fine for them, taking down the Tinker on the back line. Batrider able to finish him off, and the lasso just came off on cooldown. They're going to be able to bring down Poss as well, despite the roar, and that is just another great fight for them. The big thing here, of course, is Tinker got dropped down and does not have buyback available. He just went in so deep, and he doesn't have something like a Ghost Scepter to survive. If he cannot get his Blinks or his Scythes, he's not going to be able to get on out of this one. And going back to the item builds, Satanic, allowing you to tank up through all this damage. You may be able to march over 4 times in the middle of a fight, especially with Song, but it's still static damage that they can deal with by getting scalable right-click damage that they lifesteal through. Hand of God, Mechanism, Satanic, these guys aren't going down.
No, now they're using this 30-second window where Tinker can't buy back to choose this tier 3 in the mid. They can take the racks here in the mid and then probably sweep the top as well. Nagasong still down for 40 seconds. Got a pretty big window of opportunity here to bring down this Melee-Rax. Down goes the mid Melee-Rax. Question is, do they commit to the top racks as well? As the Bear even has the Demonic Purge used on it. Knocked back by Flame Break. We see the net tossed out on top of Gyrocopter. He will back off though, getting force staffed out, and it looks like they're saying, you know what, mid racks, that's enough for us. We'll just drop back now.
Certainly
Which I think is probably the right choice, seeing as Tinker is back up and running.
Just breaching high ground in general against a Tinker at this stage of the game is immense. But now coming on in, Tinker gets whole lassoed up and gets dropped down in just a moment. Hand of God comes on through, and all the Dagon size in the world, they're not going to be able to bring down Loda now that he gets to right click away. Call down comes across, but is unfortunately not going to hit on anything. They're going to be able to clean up maybe the Bear, but has been able to get away in the past, just based on that large armor. So they're going to settle for Synderen, and he is not getting on out of that one. Great flame break, but that was one dead fish. So they're going to be going in, maybe for the all-in here. I mean, this is...
He had Song up, didn't even get a chance to use it, and I mean, that's pretty much why I feel Tinker, his first target needs to be Bat. Like that lasso. His first target needs to be Bat. Even if he was to get a BKB later, he's got to get it. Otherwise, they're just going to catch him, drag him, and then with the right-click damage from SS, and obviously Gyrocopter as well, just get obliterated.
Yeah.
And this looks like GG.
As the Tinker, you hate to go like a Lincoln's to try to get that defensive up when you could just go rush for more and more lasers, but in this situation, he's just getting picked off over and over, and it's very unfortunate because they don't have any follow-up. Their entire lineup is based on him doing a ton of damage, and now Black's about to drop the Aegis, and he does have a Bear resummon, but that's about it. So, does he have buyback? Yes, he does. They might be trying to hold it here. They pop the buyback. They're going to be able to go for the resummon, and they're going to go in here. They're going to hold the tier 4s for now, but the Song... They catch S4 at least. They do catch some. If they didn't catch anybody, that would have been a huge loss. But they might be able to turn this around. EGM and Ake are going to try to make this a fight, though. S4 taking a huge amount of damage that gets disrupted. Maybe Test of Faith. He's going to be able to survive through this with Satanic. And Mantis Doll going to pop off in a moment. It's not enough burst to finish off anybody but supports. Shadow Demon buys back on into it. Synderen has fallen. The Bear, and Black has no more resummons and is about to lose his own life here without a buyback. There it is. Good game, well played. As we see the first game to be played going the way of Alliance to make it a 2-0 advantage based on that +1.
I've got to say, the Tinker strategy, it's cute, it's definitely effective when it works, but the problem is with it, it relies on black level farm. Like, you've got to get an absolutely insane amount of gold on Tinker, and obviously Tinker can farm like a madman, but Alliance say, you know what, well, we know we've got this window of opportunity, finish this game earlier. because it's going to take you a considerable amount of time. He got most of the way there, unfortunately, just needed to at least pick up an ethereal blade at some point so he could actually have a huge amplified shotgun damage, because he's up against Shadow Fiend and Gyrocopter, who aren't the tankiest heroes to begin with, so even just a low-level Dagon with an ethereal blade would do considerable damage with several volleys. Even like 2 volleys would probably be enough to drop them.
Absolutely. Now here we see that Alliance has found a very, very effective counter here. The final pickup was a Shadow Fiend, and that was pretty interesting to see. I wasn't so sure about it because it doesn't have the gank potential, but they went for Teamfight instead. AC, Call Down, Requiem, and survivability items like the Satanic and the Mechanism. All they wanted to do was keep their carries right-clicking and alive, and then the items did their work, and the ultimates did their work. And really, when you think about that compared to the Teamfight ultimates of Mousesports, like the Familiars cannot do what a Call Down can. The Tinker is using everything he can just to keep his items flowing, and the Naga Siren was really the only big setup they had, but no damage. And so with that, they could always bring somebody low, but there's no guarantee that they could actually keep them in that state because of the defensive disruptions, because of all the heals. And so I really do like the double Satanic. I think that that is a great way to deal with this as long as they have the damage to follow through, and of course they did with Manta and later with Butterfly. So really, really great strategy. 2 level 21 carries, taking down the level 18 Tinker. He just couldn't do it. Nice plays. I really still love the strategy from Mouseboys, but Alliance do find a chink in the armor and are able to take this game away. So nicely done. We'll go on into game 2/3. Depends on how you look at it, but it is going to be the second played game of this best of 5. The current score, though, Alliance 2-0.